Hello, and welcome back to another edition of Ralph is never reviewing a superhero movie again. I remember I said that before I reviewed the Josh Trank Fantastic Four. So welcome to my review of the Fantastic Four, First Steps, the new film from Marvel Studios. It is the 37th film in the MCU, which is crazy, and it's technically the third iteration of the Fantastic Four. And this film finds them in 1960s New York. They must take on their biggest foe yet, Galactus, a planet-devouring ancient being who will eat Earth with the help of his assistant, the Silver Surfer. It's a lot like the plot of that other movie, except it's not a total disgrace. Speaking of total disgrace, I rewatched the Josh Trank Fantastic Four over the weekend. That is one of the worst superhero movies ever made. Probably bottom 10, something like that. Maybe bottom 5. It's like Batman and Robin level. Half of that movie is like reshoots, and it's so obvious. Like, her wig is fucking terrible. It looks like a doll's hair. That film didn't get like any of the characters right. It didn't get anything right. Like, the humor sucked. Like, remember the scene where Reed Richards morphed his face? That was fucking weird. And like, rewatching the movie, I forgot about that, but I was like, oh my god, that was horrible. And there's so many moments like that in that movie. That movie was dark. It was like, really, it was like Zack Snyder. It was like, oh, we're gonna do this, like, this realistic, brutal, gritty take on the Fantastic Four, like it's fucking Batman or something, which like completely misses the point of the Fantastic Four. They're supposed to be kind of goofy. Like, the Fantastic Four should be in a large, like, penthouse kind of lab on the top of a tower, like an apartment building in New York City. That's like, even the Tim Story one did that, but the Josh Trank one, they're in like a fucking bunker or something underground. It's so bad. It doesn't get it right. It isn't faithful to the material, and maybe some people don't care about that. Like, I know Snyder people don't care, clearly. Like, they think Man of Steel's a great movie because they don't like Superman, clearly. They don't like the character of Superman. They just like Zack Snyder. And, there were people who defend Josh Trank in that movie, saying, like, the studio destroyed his vision and the reshoots were terrible. That's what Josh Trank says anyway. He says his cut of the movie is much better. But, that's what, like, they all say that. Like, that's what David Ayer said about the Suicide Squad movie. I'm sure no matter how you cut that movie, it's not a good movie. Maybe his cut was a little bit better, but I doubt it. That film put such a bitter taste in people's mouths that it killed the Fantastic Four for like a decade. And there are people even now who just think that it's just not worth making a film about. And there are people criticizing this Fantastic Four movie, saying, the Fantastic Four suck. They're played out. They tried making them already twice. They rebooted it twice in the past 20 years. And like the Superman movie, like, they just throw all this stuff at it, right? The Superman movie got all this flack from the Snyder fans, and it got all this flack from people who just wanted to politicize it. It's true that there's never been a good Fantastic Four movie, but when you combine a team of superheroes, I think, that have a lot of potential, with a studio like Marvel Studios that is really good at making superhero movies. Like, they've basically written a book on how to make good modern day superhero films. And they're a studio with a lot of hits. They have some duds, but they're mostly, their library is mostly successes. And, you also add a cast and crew who clearly are super passionate about this material, clearly love the Fantastic Four. This movie was a huge love letter to the Fantastic Four. And that's, I think, what made this film special. It's a love letter to the Fantastic Four, to the comic books, to the villains, to what Stan Lee and Jack Kirby created. I was really looking forward to this movie, even more than I was looking forward to Superman, honestly, just because I have that childhood connection to the Fantastic Four. I saw those movies in the theater when they came out. I saw that first one twice, I think. And they're not good movies. I just have like a nostalgic kind of attachment to them. It exceeded my expectations, honestly. I think they did a really good job with this film. One of the strengths of it is that it's very self-contained. It doesn't rely on the MCU at all, or like you knowing the MCU. It doesn't have other characters show up. It isn't setting up future movies. They don't even pay off that like teaser from Thunderbolts that they did. That made it cool because the Fantastic Four didn't have any fucking help from anyone, right? They didn't have any superheroes that they could rely on. I mean, they had Mole Man, but they couldn't like call Captain America or anyone else to come help them, the Guardians of the Galaxy or Thor. The whole world was relying on the Fantastic Four to save them, and that's just what made them feel even more heroic. The movie looked great. I thought the cinematography was fantastic. It looked beautiful, really well lit. They didn't do the origin story again. You know, there's even a line in the movie, like, you know the origin story. It's like, yeah, I fucking know the origin story. They go to space, there's radiation, they get powers, they come back down, and they're superheroes. I get it. The Josh Trank one that's the whole fucking movie, is the origin story. And it's like 15 minutes of them as children in the beginning, and he's giving a book report on Eli Manning. It's like, why do we need to see any of this? This is not interesting. This is not what makes the Fantastic Four unique or interesting. Okay? Like, it's just not. And you know, a director's cut of that movie is not going to change that shit. Another thing I like about it is they played it pretty straight, as far as not throwing in a ton of gags that were like non sequiturs or a bunch of dumb jokes and dumb lines. Thor: Love and Thunder kind of had that problem, and it makes you not take anything that's going on seriously, and so nothing mattered in it. and with this Fantastic Four movie, they played everything pretty straight. Like, the characters took the situation seriously. What was going on might have been really goofy, but the film plays it straight, and all of the comedy came from the characters and their interactions and their dialogue with each other, which that's what I like. I think that's what makes a movie funny. I feel like the people making that Fantastic Four movie in 2005 just had a very cynical mentality as far as making that movie and the choices they made with it, and that makes it feel very dated. None of the films so far have really gotten right, like the science balanced with the superhero aspect. The Tim Story ones kind of lean too far into the superhero movie direction, and the science is pretty basic and simplistic. But the Josh Trank one focuses like too much on the science, and it's not really a good superhero movie at all. The superhero stuff's like in the last 10 minutes. In the Josh Trank one, there's a year time jump where we skip them learning to use their powers. Like, that's how little that movie cared about them being superheroes or showing them as superheroes. Josh Trank just wanted to make like a weird David Cronenberg horror movie out of the Fantastic Four, which makes no sense at all. That's so misguided. Like, I just can't, like, it's crazy watching that one back to back with this new Fantastic Four one. This is so much more faithful to that source material that Jack Kirby and Stan Lee created. It's fun, and it's about explorers in space, and like they're inventing things and, you know, discovering things. It's about exploration. It's very much because it's set in the 60s, right? It's that mentality that people had in the 60s where it was about space and exploring the unknown. And you had like science fiction movies like 2001: A Space Odyssey. This movie kind of feels like that. Obviously not nearly as like slow paced or meditative as something like that, but it has that element of it where it's like this space adventure, sort of. And then you have, it's like kind of Star Trek-esque too. Like, there's these group of scientists use their smarts to, you know, explore and, you know, defeat these villains and stuff like that. Johnny Storm is smart in this movie. They don't play him like kind of a dumb douchebag. They make him like he actually figures out the Silver Surfer's language, and he's very proactive in the movie, and he's very smart. I like how they wrote his character. I like how they wrote all the characters. Each character was really fleshed out and felt authentic and faithful. It was very clear the actors were passionate about the roles, and a lot of people complained about Pedro Pascal. Oh, he's overcast. He's been in everything. He's in so many things. He's in Last of Us. He's in Eddington. Like, he was good in the movie. I really liked Pedro Pascal. I thought he was great. Like as Reed Richards, he really kind of he grounded him a little bit. He made him sort of sympathetic. Vanessa Kirby, I really liked how she redefined Sue Storm. It's way more of like a maternal figure in this movie. The Jessica Alba version was kind of ditzy, and she seemed kind of like stupid. I thought Joseph Quinn was great as Johnny Storm. You know, he plays him kind of cocky and flirty, charming, but he's also very intelligent. You like him, you root for him throughout the movie. I like the stuff with him, and the Thing. Like, those scenes were actually funny, unlike the Tim Story ones. Speaking of Ben Grimm, Eben Ross Bachrach, I thought he was great as Ben Grimm. There are a few notable people in the supporting cast: Julia Garner as Silver Surfer, Natasha Lyonne, but perhaps the biggest standout is Ralph Ineson as Galactus. I thought he was terrifyingly cartoonishly evil. He's just like a giant fucking ancient being who just destroys planets. It's one of the best villains in Marvel Comics, and they brought him to life in this movie in a really great way. He's not a fucking cloud in this movie. Thank God they didn't make him a cloud. They just made him a really big guy with a really big ship, which that's all you needed. Like I said with Superman, this movie was just sort of back to the basics. It was a basic, good superhero movie. It wasn't hamstrung by the MCU and all that bullshit because it was set in the 1960s and in an alternate reality. So they just did their own thing, mostly, which was great. It didn't go through their origin story again, which we know. That's basically it with the movie. Do I have any criticisms of it? Not really. Like, that's the thing. Like, when I was trying to find something I actually disliked about the movie, I couldn't really find much. Like, I liked the characters. I thought the performances were great. I thought it was super faithful to Fantastic Four. It gave me everything I wanted in a Fantastic Four movie. The music was great. I really liked the theme song. Yeah, it's one of the best movies of the summer. Definitely a standout. I definitely highly recommend you see it. And I would give Fantastic Four First Steps a 7 out of 10. Yeah, I really liked it. And it's one of the best, it's the best Fantastic Four movie easily, and one of the best movies in the MCU. Yeah, super impressed with it. I was really happy with it. I might even like raise my ranking of it in the MCU. But it's up there. I think I have it like number 13 or number 12, something like that. But yeah, it's good. And yeah, it gave me everything I kind of wanted in a Fantastic Four movie. It was cool. I felt like a kid again. No, I didn't think it was too long. I didn't think it had like unnecessary filler or like too much going on. I actually, like, there's some things I wish there was more of. Like, I wish there was kind of more Ben Grimm in the movie. He kind of feels like he got the least amount to do out of everyone. It's good to leave you wanting more, ultimately. I think that's a strength of this movie. It leaves you wanting more. It doesn't make you tired and exhausted by the end of it. Would I recommend Fantastic Four First Steps? Yes. Would I recommend the Fantastic Four Josh Trank version? If you're blind and deaf, then yes, I would recommend it. Yeah, just to shit on the Josh Trank one some more, because it's fun. None of the characters had any chemistry like they did in this movie. They were too young. It wasn't believable that they were like these advanced scientists that could do anything. And I guess it was trying to be like an origin story. The Johnny Storm character in the Josh Trank one is just like a idiot, like like Kate Mara in that Invisible Woman in that movie is just nothing. Like, she uses her force field to fly into the air. That's never been the Invisible Woman's power, you know. Her power has been force fields and turning invisible, maybe shooting out some kind of energy beams, but she can't fly. Come on, like, they didn't get anything right. That was clearly a reshoot. It was a lot like the Joss Whedon cut of Justice League, that kind of situation where in the middle of scenes, they would just have reshoots. Like half a scene was a reshoot. There's a scene where the Ben Grimm of that movie, played by Jamie Bell, is like in the garage where he works, and he looks at his phone, and that was clearly a reshoot because it was just like such a small scene that didn't matter. And like the background didn't match. Like he walks in, and then they cut to a close-up of him, and it's like cars in the background. It's not the garage in the background, so they couldn't like get that exact location that day. All they could get was like the exterior, like Ben Grimm, the parking garage or whatever. All the Josh Trank stuff it's pretty obvious like what his stuff is. And then all the goofy stuff is like the studio added it in. Like they changed his name to Doctor Doom. The studio in the original cut of Fantastic Four, there wasn't any, like, they didn't call him Doctor Doom. His name was something else. There's all this fun little trivia about that film. But the point is, it's a bad movie. So yeah, Fan Four Stick is terrible. Josh Trank fucked it up. Stan Lee refused to do a cameo for that one. That's how you know it's really bad. As far as tying it into Doomsday, this movie was pretty self-contained. Again, that's what I liked about it. It wasn't trying to, like, set up all this bullshit in Doomsday. It was just a great Fantastic Four movie that gave the fans of Fantastic Four what they wanted. It was a love letter, and, you know, that's what it needed to be. Because now that we're engaged in the Fantastic Four, now they can do Avengers Doomsday and do whatever they want. I'm still hesitant about Avengers Doomsday. I feel, you know, the Robert Downey Jr. thing, that bothers me. But, you know, I felt at first that they had no one to be in it. Like, they had, like, no characters that were going to appear. I don't think the Eternals are going to show up in Avengers Doomsday. I don't think the Marvels are going to show up. I don't think... I mean, the Marvels might show up, but that movie was a big bomb. I think that movie bombed even worse than Eternals. So, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if they're going to put the Marvels in it. Maybe not. That's like a 50-50 for me. They're definitely not going to put the Eternals in it. Definitely. Like Black Knight, whatever, like the Kid Harington, you're never going to fucking see him again. Patton Oswalt as the Troll, you're never going to see him again. You'll never see Charlize Theron again. The Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness teaser where he had the eye and whatever, that made no sense, but you're never gonna see them again. You know, so like who's gonna be in Doomsday? It'll be Shang-Chi, it'll be the Fantastic Four, they got the X-Men in it, the Patrick Stewart, you know, Ian McKellen, they got them, the X-Men, they got Thor. Okay, maybe Thor, maybe Hulk, maybe Spider-Man, probably Spider-Man. The Guardians, maybe, like the new Guardians, like the Adam Warlock and them. The Black Panther people will be in it, Shuri and them. You think Ant-Man will be in it? Probably not. Maybe Ant-Man. Definitely not the Wasp. Sue Storm is a strong woman character, I feel. That's a character... like you know, men engage with the Invisible Girl character, right? They don't engage with fucking all these other characters that they try to shove down your throat. I mean, people like the Wasp, sure. I just don't like Evangeline Lilly's version of the Wasp. Vanessa Kirby's really good at pretending to give birth. That's like her acting talent. That's like her X factor. Because it's like that other movie she's in, Pieces of a Woman. Yeah. And she's, you know, she's pregnant in that, and she gives birth in that movie, and then in this movie she gives birth. It's like we need Vanessa Kirby's in this movie. We need to write in a scene where she gives birth. Vanessa Kirby does the best fake birth scenes in Hollywood. I'm very curious where the baby thing is gonna go, because they set up their son Franklin is like this. He kind of has these powers, and you know, maybe he'll play a larger role in Doomsday, and I'm just very curious where all that goes, because they also mention, like, in the beginning, because I saw it twice, I remember in the beginning, they say, Reed's like, we tried for 2 years to get you pregnant, and it hasn't worked. So there's clearly something special about, like, Franklin, and the reason he came into being, or something, some sort of cosmic, reason for it, which is interesting. Yeah, like Sue Storm was pregnant in this movie. Was the Wasp ever pregnant ever in the MCU? That would imply that she has sex with Ant-Man, which I don't think they do. They have this weird sort of asexual relationship in those movies. So yeah, that's another thing Fantastic Four did better. Yeah, like Johnny was constantly flirting with the Silver Surfer. Like, that was funny. Characters with a little bit of sex drive. I think that's fine. Yeah, just wanted to mention, I saw this in 40X. I thought it was fine that way. I probably enjoyed Superman a little more in 40X. But yeah, it was pretty intense. There's some cool parts in it for sure. I liked seeing it that way. Less is more. I really do feel that, and I feel that with this movie. It was simple. It had good dialogue and good characters. It was really well made. It was made with a lot of attention to detail and passion and love for the Fantastic Four. And it's a really solid movie that I would actually recommend. A good Fantastic Four movie. I'm very happy. Yeah. Let's see how they fuck it up.